a spectator sport.
This is Grassroots Radio Colorado with Jason Worley and Ken Clark on KLZ 560, The Source.
It is the 6 o'clock hour, Thursday afternoon. If you would like to join us on Grassroots Radio, 303-477-5600. Normally, Jason would be bringing us into this spot. But because I have such a tendency to butcher people's names, he's actually going to introduce our next guest.
Yes, we have the pleasure of having in the studio with us candidate for district attorney in the 11th Judicial District, Dagna Van Der Jagt. Dagna, welcome.
Thank you. A perfect pronunciation.
Thank you. That is my skill. We work on others for Ken. So
yeah, well, I show up and babble a lot. I can do that pretty well.
We can have fun because when we looked at the name, Ken looked at me. Yeah, you probably better bring this one in.
Yeah, my dad does that too. According to my mom, it is something genetic in all Clark men. So
What about the spelling test later?
Oh, I'm not going there.
That's what I have an iPad for spelling, so we're in good shape there.
So, Dagna, tell us, you are running for the 11th Judicial District. So give our listeners an idea, first of all, where it is, why you're running, and what your platform's going to be.
Well, Colorado is divided in 22 judicial districts, and the 11th Judicial District has 4 counties. It is Park County, Fremont County, Chaffee, and Custer. It is geographically quite large. Population is a little bit sparse, so not as populated. Probably the biggest city is Canyon City. That's where you have Royal Gorge and all kinds of attractions. Custer being...
A few prisons.
Yes. The same in Buena Vista.
Yep.
That's Chaffee County. The same thing with the detention facility. Why I'm running? Because of problems in that particular district that have not been addressed properly. There is a Republican candidate currently in office who has announced his re-election campaign as well right after I announced to challenge him. And we're putting him to the test because we have a lot of cases that have been dismissed, not resolved properly. And that's what we want to tackle and bring the Republican values back into the district. Those are the things that are close to heart to the voters. The voters that I have spoken to are feeling very disconnected. They don't feel represented by the current district attorney and the policies. So that's where I come in. Jason,
do we ever have any issues with other Republicans in regards to that kind of thing? Is it just me?
No, it's actually good to sometimes... As some of our friends would say, flush the system. And I'm using that in the most euphemistic of terms. It is sometimes time to get rid of the folks who've been around, who get a little bit too cozy in their jobs, and a lot of times let things get by where you're you're not doing your job. And I'm sorry, but as a DA, that's something that you're the first DA candidate we've ever had on Grassroots Radio Colorado. So you are the first of your kind.
Well, we've had Ken Buck in before,
but he's not a DA candidate.
Well, he just announced for re-election.
Okay,
yeah,
but he wasn't a candidate. We're talking about a race here too. Plus, this is an overlooked position. I mean, there's a whole. These are those positions that you don't think of: the county commissioner position, the DA, your city council members. If you're not paying attention to these are the people who. Well, let's say if they're corrupt, they get their start being corrupt in city government, and somehow they just move up the chain. So these are the. I mean, I know somebody, good friend of ours, who's talking about running for, possibly because he is term limited, and I can't say the name, possibly running for one of the other DA districts because it's a natural move, and they want to be honest. So what are the big issues that are going on in this district?
Transparency.
Okay.
I actually printed the first page of the DA's office webpage for you because you guys will enjoy that. When you check the news releases, what year did the news releases stop? 2000.
Holy cow, 2008?
2008. They have
Is that 2008?
Yes. I knew that would tickle you guys being in this
Wait,
business.
this is 2012 last time I checked. Now, I may not know the date.
I may still think it's 2011, but even that makes it bad.
I do know what year it is.
That's
2008, right. There's nothing posted for 4 years almost.
Since this guy came into office, the district attorney's office stopped releasing news. We don't know what they do, what cases are on their agenda, what are the current policies, what are the current issues in terms of community safety that are on the table and being tackled. All you can do is, when you surf the internet, you can go to local newspapers, pull the articles, and get some statements. And usually the statements are, case being dismissed, no evidence. That's the explanation. I've printed a nice big folder of stuff that I'm reviewing, gathering information, and people are just fed up with that, because no news to me is bad news. I think somebody in political office who's been elected to represent the voters, who's setting the tone, which crimes are basically receiving the attention of the taxpayers' money to keep the community safe, has an obligation to put out news releases. What are the cases in your community? What can you do to be safe? If there is a pattern of burglaries, I want to know, living in Fairplay. If there is a pattern of DUIs or anything else that is going on, because I want to contribute to the safety as a citizen in the county.
would be very curious to know what kind of cases aren't being prosecuted and which kind of cases are being dismissed.
Well, this is just really weird. I mean, this brings to mind, and I don't know, Dagna, you might remember this story that came up earlier this year.
Not Dagny.
No, I said Dagna.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard
you say
No,
I got my, just so you know, I have the only ticket Grassroots Radio is officially endorsing right now. I have their T-shirt on right now. It is Galt Taggart and 12. So
well, it was supposed to be Dagny, so you're right.
Oh, that's
However,
pretty funny.
I was born in Poland, and it was a communist regime, and all the Polish names are supposed to be grammatically ending with an A if you're female. So basically, my birth certificate reads with my parents saying Dagny should be her name, and then it's crossed out by the administration because it's not
insane.
Exactly. So you got it right. But it's
well, hey,
communism, Batman.
Exactly. That's why they fled the country.
Rule, and we'll be having that here. But anyway,
let me jump to this, because there was a story that happened in the last couple of years here in Colorado. It was kind of a big story. A lot of this stuff was going on. If you remember the evidence story in Broomfield County, do you remember it? Are you familiar with that at all? There was all kinds of problems going on in the sheriff's department. I actually know the sheriff. I like the guy, but the evidence room was having all kinds of problems, which was leading to problems with cases. Mm-hmm. And they had a huge investigation of why evidence disappeared. That's the kind of stuff that, when you're not telling the folks what's happening, that's the kind of thing that's possibly going on. People don't know.
Ed, let me jump in here. There is a news article that came out that I found in 2010, May 2010. Assault case against convicted killer dismissed. You know what the explanation is?
Assault case against convicted killer.
That's right.
How is this guy out on the street?
He's probably served his time as my guess, but
in order to
he may have a pattern behind him.
Assault.
So what does the story actually?
Basically, it seems that it was an appeals case where the conviction was appealed, and the case gets kicked back to the trial court to be retried, while the prosecution sat on their hands and forgot to refile the charges and recommence the case. So here's his explanation. Freeman County District Attorney Tom Ledoux says a miscommunication between the court and his office led to a case not being reviewed in time. So this guy is walking scot-free.
I'm sure the victim loves that. That's a big deal. I'm sorry, but if you're a victim of an assault, and this guy is obviously, well, let's just guess, you've been accused of an assault and you've already been convicted of murder? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that might be one of those cases you stick to. I mean, Granny gets accused of assault, perfect record. Okay, maybe not top priority. A convicted killer gets accused of assault. I'm not going to do it. My head's going to explode.
Yeah, Charlie, we're going to need some gauze pads because Jason's eyes are about to start bleeding again. When we come back after the break, I have a question for you. And let me set it up like this. A lot of district attorneys, they always claim that they've got case overload, and they have to pick and choose how they're going to handle this case and that case. And they never have enough money to try the really serious ones or blah, 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 whatever. I would like to know how you intend to handle that and whether or not that's happening in your district, because I frankly don't have a clue. We'll be right back.
We are back. Ken and Jason, Grassroots Radio, Colorado. We are here with Dagna, or Dagny, as she was supposed to be named. Those darn communists. Van Der Jagt, and I see.
Yeah,
got it.
The reason that's important is one of our heroes at Grassroots Radio is the main character from Atlas Shrugged, Dagny Taggart.
Yes.
And one of our friends in Colorado Springs just named his new baby girl Dagny. And so, that's why that has a lot of special meaning for us. When we left the last segment, I had asked you kind of an open-ended question. And we hear this all the time from a lot of DAs all over the country. We've got too heavy a caseload. We have to pick and choose. And, when they say that they're going to be tough on crime and, you get there and can be overwhelming, I'm sure. But, frankly, I'm a little bit surprised that website only goes back to 2008 because I don't know how you would even get this information. But when that happens, what's going to be the platform? Are you going to have a litmus test? What are you going to do?
Well, right now, what's being done is they do less with less budget and less money. Obviously, what I would like to do is do more, I think, with less budget. And it's my goal. I know it's a public servant position, and you're a DA for a reason, and so are the people who work for the elected DA, who are deputy DAs. But right now what is happening, verified by independent trial statistics, which the court keeps, the average trial statistic for a DA in that office is 2.5 trials per year. Just to give you a comparison, I, as a prosecutor, had about 15 trials, and that's misdemeanor and also district court trials per year. So it's well under the average of what I would expect.
I need a point of clarification. So the entire office is actually trying 2.5 cases a year, and you as a prosecutor were handling 15 on your own. So the entire office?
However, the entire office, it seems the numbers are that there's 10 deputy DAs, including the elected DA.
What are they doing?
That's what I'm asking.
What are they doing? You got 10. I'm sorry, I watch Law & Order. They do a case a day.
They can do a case in an hour, right?
A case in an hour. But seriously, so you have 11 people.
Yes, 10 people are the official numbers.
Well, in addition to the actual DA.
That's what I don't know, because you can't verify that on his website.
Yeah,
they don't update information, so I don't know how many people work there. The best estimate I can come up with is 10 people, including the elected.
Okay. Wait. Okay. I've got to get a point of clarification again. You don't know how many people work in that office. You can't find out.
I can't find out, and I challenge you to do that on the website.
Oh no, and you may have to put a Cora in.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do. Yeah, we're gonna have to do a Cora. You got to be kidding me! You cannot find out how many people work in the DA's office in the 11th Judicial District.
No, for instance, for Park County, on the website, there's still 2 DAs and an investigator listed. However, the investigator retired, I think, 3 months ago, and the other deputy DA quit back in November. Still no updated information.
That's 3 months, not 4 years, though. I mean, geez, this is...
Holy cow. I'm starting to see why you're doing this. It's starting to make a lot of sense to me. It really is.
Well, it just does not add up, because I feel that the most important right for the community and also for the accused, because I'm defense counsel currently. So I was a former prosecutor, now I'm on the defense side. So I get both sides of the story. But the most valued thing in our legal system is the right to a jury trial, or to a court trial if you want. But a jury comprised of your peers who will judge the evidence the prosecutor presents, and also if you have done it. And if I hear that only 2.5 cases per prosecutor get taken to trial per year, that is absolutely ridiculous. And plus the concern that so many cases get dismissed with no further explanation, just disappear.
It doesn't make
unacceptable.
sense.
Man, I'll tell you what, if I ever get arrested, I want it to be in the 11th Judicial District. But I've got to...
At least for the next 6 months.
Yeah, okay. But that's going to put you in a very unusual position. You have both experience as a prosecutor and as a defense attorney. So that's going to give you a very unique perspective as a DA, I would think.
I agree with that. I see benefits, because I started first as a prosecutor, and then later I changed to the defense side, and I thought, oh my gosh, this will be so different. And I came to appreciate the system. I saw how the system is supposed to work on both sides and how both sides play a crucial role to assure the rights of the accused, but also the rights of the people to help people, to hold people accountable for crime. And that's why I think I'm the candidate who should run, who should be in that office, because I'm principled, I have integrity, I have experience, and I want to lead this office into a new direction in this next election year.
That makes a lot of sense. I had asked you a question before we started getting on the air about Constitution and the fundamentals of the Constitution, and you had answered it. I would like for you to tell your listeners how you answered that question. Would you have any issues taking on the state of Colorado when they violate the Constitution, or taking on the federal government when they violate the Constitution?
No, I am actually representing a client, and we are suing on her behalf. We're suing the city and the county of Denver, specifically the clerk's office, who has mishandled documents and butchered her appeals case. So I have no qualms holding the government accountable. And that's what I'm expecting, that when I challenge the incumbent with some numbers or with statistics or with cases, I expect answers. I don't expect this, drop it under the table, I don't have time to answer this, go to the press releases in the newspapers, which will answer that, because they don't. So again, I have no qualms holding people accountable, and that's what I want that the voters will do to me. I will make myself available in all of the communities. I will attend schools. I will have public coffee meetings, meet and greets, because I want to be in touch with the voters who will tell me those are the issues we're dealing with. Those are the shortcomings, let's say, of the police departments or investigations we have noticed. How can we tackle those issues? Or we have problems with drugs in schools. Those are things that I need to be knowing about. I need to be in the know. I need to make myself available. And that's not what has happened in that district for the past 3+ years.
Doesn't sound like anybody knows what's happened in that district for the past 3 years.
Well, no matter what, as a public official and somebody who is paid by the taxpayers, you need to be transparent. And that's just the fact that nothing's been updated, that stuff's you guys are actually going to laugh, because small world, your opponent was a fraternity brothers of mine in college.
Really?
Oh, yeah. No. And the funny thing is, I haven't talked to this person in it's been forever. So it was just funny. I'm looking at I went, do you know that name sounds familiar? And I Googled it and looked up. It is a small world. I have no good stories from the past that I can tell you, because I just seriously don't have any memories. No, but it is amusing. It is amusing. And I don't care if it was here's the thing. As a graduate, this person's a graduate of Leadership Program of the Rockies. This person's a graduate of Leadership Program of the Rockies. You should know transparency is key. You should know making sure the citizens are informed is a big deal. I'm sorry, but that's not a good thing. That's kind of an indictment. You know better than this.
Well, and yeah,
you're held to a higher standard.
You've got to take a look at it from this perspective as well. I mean, this is unfortunately, you have to run for this office, which unfortunately, again, makes it a political office. And that's too bad. But anybody should know that the appearance, whether this guy's done anything wrong or not, when you're telling us stories about a convicted murderer's assault charges being dropped because they forgot to refile, and then we go to the website and see that nothing's been updated from 2008, a guy like me, a guy like Jason, you know what? We're going to start questioning that, because the appearance is so bad.
And that's the problem. This could be my best friend, and I would still say the exact same thing. Guess what? You're not doing your job if the public doesn't know what you're doing. You're the DA. You are the legal representative for the people and the victims from the 11th Judicial District. Tom Ledoux, you're not doing your job. Sorry, bud.
Well, and his explanation, because I challenged him, why do you not have news releases, was, well, we talked to the newspapers. I think that's very different than putting out your own news release. On your own volition.
Talking to the newspaper is not the same thing.
No, you have a staff for a reason. Their job is to keep the public informed. A newspaper can take any slant on anything they want. They have their own representation. Your job that would be like the governor's office saying, well, I talked to the Post. Who cares? You're the governor's office puts out its own press releases.
That's going to
so
be
you get at least half the story.
Right. That's going to be one paragraph every 6 months in the Post.
Well, the other explanation he has why there are no trials are because they're saving resources. Well, how are you saving resources if the police department, the sheriff's office, goes out and does the investigation, files the charges, the taxpayer pays for the police officers to be out there on the lines, and then it comes to his office, and apparently that's when we start saving resources because the DA's time is better spent doing what rather than being in court, what your job is, and holding a jury trial or holding a court trial because the taxpayer is paying for the court to be open anyways. And it makes no sense. I mean, I just don't even know how to counter this. We're saving money because we're not going to trial. No, you're saving on justice, and that's not what you're there to do.
You're skimping on
that's
justice.
Right.
That's the problem. And you can't there's times when that argument I can actually understand the argument to a point, but you're right. Just because you're quote unquote saving money doesn't mean you're doing the right thing.
Well, you know what we could do? We could just take that a little bit further and just say we won't prosecute anybody and we'll let everybody out of jail. How do people find you, Dagny, and how do they get in touch with your campaign?
Well, they can find me on the internet, either on Facebook or LinkedIn. When you Google Dagna, I will pop up, Dagna Van Der Jagt.
Yeah,
also,
it's very easy. You type in Dagna, boom, second one listed. It was cake.
And so they can friend me. Also go to my website at www.votefordagna.com. And also, they can call me because I understand that some people just are reluctant to use the internet. So it would be at 303-646-7040. I want to hear from people because the information I get from the background, basically, people who write me in confidence or call me in confidence, that information is invaluable to me in my research to dig through what the office has kept under wraps.
All right, very good. There you have it. We are talking about the 11th Judicial District. We will be right back after this.
We're back. Grassroots Radio Colorado, Thursday night. Still getting over the fact that it's such a small world it is. And by the way, good luck, Dagna. She is a incredibly charming lady. It was fun. We were having fun talking off the air. Sometimes you get politicians, people running for office who they're a little uptight, a little stiff. No, we had fun. Oh, awesome person.
That was terrific. And I'll tell you what, I get the feeling she definitely knows her stuff. And based on that conversation that we just had with her, though, it makes you truly wonder. And I am not much of a conspiracy theorist. I mean, I'm really not. I mean, I like to look at facts. But the facts in this particular ordeal are, we don't know what the facts are. There's nothing. Are you kidding me? A newspaper article in the Denver Post? Oh, I talked to the Denver Post. That is telling the people what the district attorney is doing?
You need to be keeping people abreast of what's going on. It's a big, you're not, sorry, but
you work for the public. You are paid by taxpayers' money.
You
have an obligation.
You're not the city attorney for Simla, Colorado. And I can say that because I know people who used to live in Simla. You're actually a judicial district DA. You have a responsibility to a lot of different people in a whole lot of different areas. And there's always conversations that go on afterwards, and you can't always say everything, but do your job. And you know what? If you don't do your job, you don't deserve your job. Goodbye.
Well, and here's the thing. We don't know whether or not he is or he isn't doing his job. From the sounds of things, it's not really happening. But the problem with it is there's no way to find out. I mean, Dagna couldn't even figure out how many employees they have. The caseload 2.5 per. When she was a prosecutor, she was doing 15. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. There was a couple. We opened up the show this afternoon. We opened up the show this morning at 5 p.m. Okay, you know what? It's Thursday. Tomorrow night will probably be a little bit worse, but we opened up the show today talking about the fact that they want to do a...
Hold on. I got to jump this real quick because I'm looking at the Facebook page for Tom Ledoux.
Okay.
And I like I said, I know the guy, but if you're not willing to put out press releases about the things going out in your county, but you're willing to put a whole bunch of different Facebook pages and press releases out on your re-election campaign, that tells me a little about where you stand. I'm looking at it right now. First thing on the Facebook page, big press release. Of course, I haven't put any out for my county or for my judicial district in 4 years. Yeah, that's not a good idea. Sorry.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But we had started.